Many Canadians, who would have thought? Hello, how's everybody doing? It's so great to be here. Thank you for sticking around to listen to a talk about sales. Nobody likes sales, but it's good for you. How many people here think selling is hard? Hands up, little show of hands. Yeah, so liars. So many people are like, no, I've got it. It's easy. Selling's easy. I've got it. Most of us think selling is hard. I come from the product side of the house. Most of the founders that I work with come from the product side of the house, and they think selling is very hard. But unfortunately, we got to get good at it. Otherwise, the company doesn't get to continue to exist. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I actually want to talk about today is I want to flip it around and look at it from the customer's perspective. And so I'm going to say something that is maybe a little controversial. And what I'd like to say is I think buying is hard. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, no, April, no, it ain't. That's called shopping. That's really easy. Buying's super easy. And I get it. I get it. Some things are really easy and fun to buy. I like buying shoes. I like buying a T-shirt. I like buying a drink at the bar. But then there's a lot of things that really, really suck to buy. Like, who likes buying insurance? That sucks. Does anybody like buying a house? No, that's terrible. And in fact, when we think about it, most of the software that companies buy are actually incredibly difficult things to buy. So I'm going to give you a little story. It's really stupid. Just stay with me through it, and then I'm going to give you a less stupid story after that, okay? So just come with me. The story is called April Buys a Toilet. So I live in Toronto. Toronto is famous for having old, terrible houses. Inside my old, terrible house that I just bought is an old, terrible bathroom. So I hire a guy to come in and fix it. And he says to me, April, you're going to have to go buy a toilet. And I'm like, okay, never bought a toilet before, but I'm just going to go buy a toilet. How hard can it be? So I go to the toilet store. I walk in, and the guy walks up to me, and he says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, you can. I'm here to buy a toilet. And he said, what kind of toilet do you want? And I'm like, one that flushes? And he says, oh, we got all kinds of toilets. They're back there in the back. You can walk over there and see them. So I said, okay. I walk over to the back, and here's what I see. 1,000 toilets. And they all look the same, but they are not the same. Some of them cost $200. Some of them cost $2,000. Every single one has a little sticker beside it, and there's a price, and a whole bunch of features, and I don't know what any of these words mean. They're talking about gravity-assisted, and trapways, and flappers, and I don't know what a flapper is. Some of them have flappers, some of them don't have flappers. And I spend 45 minutes in the store, and I'm like, I'm actually not educated enough to buy a toilet. I'm going to go get a toilet education. So I went home and I did what any sensible person would do, and I Googled it. And it turns out toilets are full of technology. So much. Yeah, who knew? So there's like water efficiency and seat height and single and dual flush technology, and it's frickin' flappers. I still don't know what they are. Some of them have it, some of them don't. All this stuff. Then I learned the most disgusting thing about toilets. Now I'm going to teach it to you. There's a score. It's called the MAP score. That is the amount of solid waste that a toilet can handle in a single flush. 350 to 600 grams is good, but some toilets can handle up to 1,000 grams. It's like a little dog. It's disgusting. And at this point, I'm like, that's disgusting. I now know toilet facts that I wish I didn't know. Like, I don't want to be a toilet expert. I'm a busy person. I got stuff to do. I'm running a business over here. I don't want to spend my life thinking thoughts about toilets. And then I got this genius idea. Maybe I don't have to buy a toilet. Ha-ha. The old toilet was working just fine. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back, and I'm going to tell the guy we're just keeping the old toilet. Yeah, it's old, but I'll just keep it until it breaks, and then I'll worry about it. I won't be in the middle of a renovation, and that'll be that. So what happened? I spent 3 weeks. I went to the showroom twice. I spent what felt like infinity on the internet researching toilets. And how many toilets did I buy? 0. Now, I'm not saying that buying your next generation AI machine learning doodad thing is exactly like buying a toilet. I'm saying it's worse. It's actually worse. It's worse than buying a toilet. Let's think about how most B2B software actually gets bought. So I'm going to take something easy, like let's do accounting software. Anybody here sell accounting software? No? It sucks. So many accounting software out there. It's a terrible place to be. So let's think about it. I'm the vice president of finance. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, we're doing an audit. You know what sucks? Our accounting software sucks. We've outgrown it. It's old. It's crappy. It doesn't do what we need to do for the audit. We need to get new accounting software. Does the vice president of finance go and Google that up? No. She's busy. She's got stuff to do. She goes to the office. She looks around. She says, you, Joey, figure this out. Find us some accounting software. Go do the homework. Figure it out. Come back. Recommend accounting software for me. And, and then I'll write you the check and we'll buy it. How's Joey feeling? Joey's pissed. Joey's like, this sucks, man. I don't know anything about accounting software. I use accounting software, but I never bought accounting software before. I don't know what the state of the art of accounting software is. I don't know who the vendors are. And so what does he do? He Googles it. And what does he see? Whoa, there's a lot of accounting software. There are quadrants, man. There's a lot of quadrants. There's a Gartner quadrant, and in the top right, there's 23 companies. He's looking at comparison sites like G2 Crowd. Same thing. Top right, there's 15 companies. I don't know. What should I pay attention to? What should I not pay attention to? Maybe he comes to your website, and he clicks on that button you've got that says, give me a demo. Then what happens? Oh, now we got him. Your sales rep is like, all right, Joey's coming in. Or like, okay, Joey, you sit over here. I'm going to be the sales rep. I'm coming in over here. Welcome to the wind tunnel of features. We got 57 drop-down menus, and I'm going to click on every single one and show you every feature from every single drop-down menu. Joey's sitting there with his hair blowing back going, oh my God, what is this stuff? I don't know what half this stuff is. Is it important for me? Is it not important for me? What is the value of any of this stuff? Should I pay attention to it? Should I not pay attention to it? Does this stuff, just you have this, or do your competitors have this too? Joey has no idea. And he's low-key freaking out. You know why? He's freaking out because if he makes a mistake, bad things happen. Really bad things happen. If he goes to his boss and recommends accounting software that his boss doesn't like, he's going to look stupid in front of his boss. Maybe he buys accounting software that the whole accounting team hates. Now the whole accounting team hates him. He's the jerk that bought that stupid stuff. Maybe he buys accounting software that doesn't do what the company needs it to do, and they fail the audit. Ooh, that's bad. Maybe he's going to get passed over for a promotion. Maybe he gets fired. What is the easiest, lowest risk decision for Joey to take in this moment? It's to simply do nothing. It's to go back to his boss and say, you know what, now's not a good time. We're in the middle of the audit. Ooh, let's do it next year. We don't have to pick something here. You know what, the thing we've got right now is working just fine. It's just like me and my toilet. Now, you might think, oh, that doesn't happen very often. You would be wrong on that. The statistics on this show that 40 to 60% of B2B purchase processes end in no decision. And when you scratch down at that data, they're not ending in no decision because they looked at all the alternatives and decided, you know what, the status quo is working great for us. No, the majority of the time, they look at everyone else. They can't figure out how to confidently make a decision that isn't going to get them in trouble, and so they simply do nothing. Now, I got to take you back to Toilet Town. Just for a second, I swear, this is the end of this story. But the end of my story goes like this. I go back to my contractor, and I said, hey, dude, I'm just going to stick with the toilet. I don't have time to shop for toilets. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. He says, lady, I got rid of it. It's recycled. It's gone to the big bathroom in the sky. I can't bring it back. You have to buy a toilet. By the way, you have to do it today. And I'm like, oh, man. So I go back to the toilet store, and I meet this guy. His name's Lou. Nothing. I do that joke all the time, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, she's making a toilet joke, yeah. Anyway, that's not actually the guy. That's stock photo, by the way. I didn't go in and take a picture. Can you believe they sell stock photo like that? Anyways, so I go in, and I say, I go to the toilet store again. Guy comes out. He says, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, buddy, you can. This is a toilet emergency. I got to buy a toilet today. I've been shopping for toilets for weeks. It's been terrible. And he goes, yeah, it's hard buying toilets, isn't it? And I said, yeah, it is. It's been shit. And he said, we don't use that word here, ma'am. It's solid waste. I said, well, it's been solid waste looking for a toilet, buddy. And he says, look, I know it, but don't worry. I'm going to teach you how to buy a toilet. And I was like, teach me, toilet Obi-Wan. And he said, look, you only need to think about 3 things: quality, aesthetics, space. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. He says, okay, see all these toilets? These ones over here are cheap. These ones over here are expensive. All those features you've been looking at, flappers and trapways and all that stuff, it's just a measure of quality. These ones have better quality features so they can handle more flushes. You just need to look at how many flushes they can handle. These ones over here don't handle very many. And I'm like, who the heck buys a low-quality toilet? And he said, well, if it's for your spare bedroom or a vacation property or something, it hardly ever gets flushed, so you'd be fine. Just buy one of those. And I was like, huh, interesting. Never thought about that. Actually, this is my main toilet, so forget about those. Okay, good. We eliminate half of them. And then he says, next thing is aesthetics. Some people got a look they're going for in their bathroom. They want a gold toilet or a pink toilet or something. And so those are all high-quality toilets, but you're going to pay more for, aesthetics. And I said, but look, I don't have any fashion requirements here, buddy. So we eliminate all of those. So now we're getting somewhere, a small number of toilets. And he says, okay, the last one's space. Some people have a really small bathroom, and so they got these toilets where the tank goes in the wall. It's great, saves a lot of space, but if it breaks, you got to break out the wall. And I said, okay, I got a lot of space, so forget about that. Now I'm down to 3 toilets. It's fantastic. I said, well, which one should I buy? He says, look, I got to come clean. I actually work for Toto, so I'm going to tell you to buy the Toto one. They're all kind of the same, though. Toto only costs $100 more. If you just want to buy a toilet and never think about toilets again until you're on stage at a tech conference and you can't stop talking about it, whatever, then just pick the Toto toilet and be done with it. I'm getting sold. Put my credit card down, bought it. What happened there? Was that guy giving me the hard sell on a particular kind of toilet? No. Was he even giving me a feature function walkthrough of every single feature that a particular toilet had? No. In fact, he wasn't really behaving like we normally think of sales reps at all, was he? He was kind of acting like a guide. What he was doing was helping me make sense of the whole toilet market, put things into categories, give me some guidance on pluses and minuses of different things so I could make up my own mind and pick the one that was the best for me. Now, we could do this in software, but often we don't. So why don't we? Well, we don't for a couple of reasons. One, we're taught that, you should never talk about competition because that'll be seen as bashing the competition. So we should just talk about ourselves. Don't talk about anybody else. The second thing is that we're taught that no one's going to believe us because we're biased. So we're just the facts, Jack. Here's the features. You figure it out, customer. Now, if you look at the data on this, it's terrible. So the data on this tells us that B2B software purchasers, if you ask them the question, what do you want in a sales meeting? Like, what are you actually trying to get out of us in a sales meeting? The top 2 answers, the first one is, I want perspectives on the market. That's not just you, it's you and everybody else. The second one is, help me navigate my alternatives. It's exactly what my toilet sales guy did, those 2 things. And most of the time, we are simply not doing that in our sales pitches. So, can we build a better sales pitch? Is there a way to do that? The first thing is, what is the goal of our sales pitch? Let's think about it. The goal of a good sales pitch is to answer the question, why pick me over the other guys? So, do we know the answer to that question? Well, we do. We do because our positioning tells us the answer to that question. I'm going to give you a quick primer on positioning. Positioning defines who my competitors are, what I have that's different from them, what is the value I can deliver that no one else can, who exactly those best fit customers are that are a good fit for that value, and the market I'm going to win at. If I have good, strong positioning, I should be able to build a good, strong sales pitch because it's literally all the information is there. I just have to map it. Now, my experience as a positioning expert and a person that works with startups on positioning is most positioning does not survive the jump from marketing to sales. We stress about it over in marketing. We think about it all day. We're testing the messaging and all this kind of stuff. The minute a lead moves over to sales, what happens? No positioning is happening at all. We're just showing them the features and saying, you figure it out, buddy. So what we really need to do is translate positioning into a good sales pitch. I'm going to give you a structure to do that. So in my structure, we have two big components of the sales pitch. We have something I call the setup and something I call the follow-through. The setup is just a little bit of setup at the beginning to give people a way to think about the whole market. The follow-through, instead of being focused on features, it's focused on the value that we can deliver that no one else can. Let's think about the setup for a second. In the setup, there's three components. The first one is my market insight. So this is, what do I understand about the market that a customer is going to need to know in order to make good choices? The second thing is we have a discussion about the pros and cons of different alternatives. And then the last is we get an agreement on the customer that we look at the world the same. Once we get that, all I have to do is show how I do that. Let me give you an example, because theoretically it's hard to think about, but I give you an example, it's easy. So here's an example of a company. They're called Help Scout. Lovely. They're in the customer service space, so they have two types of competitors. So most of the companies they work with start with a shared inbox, or they have some sort of shared inbox to do service. As they get bigger and more mature, they look at something like help desk software, which is like Zendesk would be the one you would know. Now, Help Scout was built specifically for digital companies that don't have a storefront and they don't have salespeople. So it was built with a really different attitude about customer service. If you don't have a storefront, you don't have salespeople, customer service is the one place where you actually interact with your customers. So customer service in a digital business is actually a growth driver rather than a cost center. Your telephone company doesn't think about service that way. Telephone company thinks about it as a cost center. Most help desk software was designed to drive cost out of the business, not actually to deliver an amazing customer experience that's going to get you repeat business. So Help Scout has a very different set of features to support that. So let's do the features pitch. The old style pitch would be customer comes in, Help Scout comes in, and they say, hey, this is great. Customer, let me show you how you get started. Here's how you log in. Hey, we have a thing that looks like a shared inbox. Isn't that nice? But we've also got lots of other features. We've got, this is how it works across channels. This is how we do prioritization. This is how we do assignments. This is how we do workflow. This is how we do integration. On until I run out of time. Does that answer the question? Why pick me over a shared inbox? Not really. Does it answer the question, why pick me over Zendesk? I don't know, a lot of those features sound the same. So it doesn't really do the job. Now, let's do it the other way. So let's do it my way. My way, customer comes in, and we got a little setup at the beginning. So I'm going to start with my insight. I'm going to go, hey, you're a digital business. We work with digital businesses. What we've seen is that digital businesses look at customer service in a very different way. They see it as a growth driver. And then they have a chart that's some nice data that shows if with a good customer experience, you improve revenue, improve retention, improve basket size, all this kind of stuff. Usually, a digital business says, yeah, that's true. We think about it that way. It's important to give a really good digital experience. All right. Now, let's look at what your options are. A lot of the folks that we work with start with a shared inbox, and that's great. It's really easy to use, and your reps love it. The only problem with it is as you get growing and the volume gets higher, you want some customer service stuff in there. You want to be able to do assignments and prioritizations. Now you're kind of stuck. Now you got to migrate. And what do you migrate to? Help desk software. Good thing about that, has all the bells and whistles. Bad thing is, not so easy to use anymore. So your reps have got a bit of a ramp to get to use it. Second thing is, it actually wasn't really designed from the beginning to give your customers an amazing customer experience. Like if you use help desk software, your customer is not a customer anymore. They're a ticket number. They're going to try to drive your customers to low-cost channels. So in a perfect world, wouldn't we want, if we're a digital business, wouldn't we want customer service software that's as easy to use as an inbox, but has all the bells and whistles and I never have to migrate off it, and was built from the ground up to give an amazing customer experience to drive growth? We want that, right? Now, this is my little right moment. If the customer looks at me and says, yeah, right, we want that, I got them. All I got to do is prove that I do that. So if the customer says, right, then I go, yeah, okay, well, let me show you how to do it. Shared inbox, super easy to use, looks just like a shared inbox. Your folks will know how to use it. Second thing, advanced features that you're never going to grow out of. So here's how we do assignments. Here's how we do prioritization. Here's how we do this stuff. Lastly, delivers an amazing customer experience. Nobody's going to get assigned a ticket number. Customer gets to decide what channel they interact with you, whatever. Can you see the difference there? We're covering kind of the same ground. We've organized it in a completely different way, and this is a way, way, way more effective sales pitch. So again, setup, follow through. I wrote books on this stuff, man. Like the first book's about positioning. If you think your positioning's not so hot, you can tighten it up there. I just released a book last week. Applause. Thank you, even though I had to ask for it. But it's called Sales Pitch, and if you're interested in that structure, Sales Pitch book is going to get it for you. I'm going to do one more example, and then that's it. So here's another company that I worked with. They're called Level Jump Software, recently acquired by Salesforce. But they're in the in the sales enablement space. So think sales training. This is a terrible space, so crowded. Anybody in that space? Go for you. Good picking. So they're in the sales enablement space. They're big. So let's do the positioning first. Their big differentiator is they're the only sales enablement software that's built on Salesforce. So if you look at their competition falls into 3 buckets. Either you put everything on a shared drive, and that's nice, everybody can share it. But once you start growing, then you have a problem. It's the Wild West of sales content. So there's a group of competitors, but their approach to the problem is basically a CMS. So we're going to put stuff in a way that's really easy to keep track of versions and whatever. The other approach to the problem is there's a group of solutions and they're basically an LMS or a learning management system. I can build the training. People can get certified on it, take the training. That's what it looks like, okay? So the value that these guys can offer that the other folks can't is they're the only sales enablement software, because they're integrated into Salesforce, they're the only one where you can do the training and see how it affected your sales metrics. Did it improve time to first deal? Did it improve time to make quota? So again, let's look at the 2 styles of pitches. The feature pitch looks like this. Hey, customer, here's how you log in. Here's how you get started. Here's how you set up the training. Here's where the training gets delivered. This is how it gets delivered. Blah, 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 blah. Until we get to the very end and we're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's how you measure the results of this training. Sounds like every other solution on the market. Doesn't answer the question. Why pick us over the other guys? We restructured the pitch, and now it looks like this, or at least it did before they got acquired. So it looks like this. They come in. We're going to show you the demo, but hang on. Before we get to the demo, they're pitching to the head of sales enablement. Hey, head of sales enablement is really important, right? Why is it important? Because every day your rep's not making quota costs you money. How much money? Oh, they have a nice chart that shows you, actually. Millions of dollars if you got lots of reps. Now, let's look at how you might solve that problem. We work with people all day that do this. Most folks start out with a shared drive. Looks like this. Easy to do, free, no problem. Gets to be the Wild West of content, though. So then you might use a CMS. Makes it easy to keep track. Everybody's got the right version of the content. They can do it that way. Or, to get really fancy, you could do an LMS. That's amazing. You can keep track of what rep has been through what content, what's working, what rep has been through what content, and you can certify them on that. But you know what none of these things do? None of these things will actually let you go to your boss and say, look, the training we did last week, it's actually improving time to deal by 3 weeks. So we want that, right? In a perfect world, we would have sales enablement. We'd know how it drives results. We want it, right? Right? 99% of sales enablement people are going to go, yeah, buddy, no kidding. Right, I do want that. Then we show them how we do it. Here's how we do it. So here's how you measure the impact of sales enablement metrics. Here's how we can tell what's working and what isn't. And by the way, that'll help us improve this stuff. So in the case of Level Jump, this was an absolute revolution in how they did sales. The way they talked about it clearly answers the question, why pick us over everybody else in the market, of which there are lots of different options. And what happens? They get acquired. Everybody's rich. Yay. This is the end. So A handful of things to think about this. First of all, if you're going to do this and build a new pitch, sales needs to be heavily involved. You can't just have marketing build the pitch and heave it over to sales. Sales loves the pitch they have now, even if it's stupid and bad, is because they're using it every day and they're comfortable with it. If they don't understand the new pitch, they're not going to use the new pitch. They're not going to believe in the new pitch unless they were involved in building it in the first place. So you can't do this without sales being involved. Ideally, sales is there when we're doing the positioning, so they understand the positioning, and then sales, marketing, and product can work together on building a pitch that's good. My recommendation is you pick one sales rep and you tune and test it with one sales rep, and then you run it out to everybody else. It's kind of hard to enable the whole sales team. If I have one rep that gets it and loves it, then I can have that rep help me train everybody else. If it fails, usually it's not the pitch's fault. Usually the problem is your positioning is weak. So garbage in, garbage out. If the positioning is weak, the sales pitch is going to be weak. The sales pitch is weak, it doesn't work. You got to go all the way back to positioning. And then lastly, the pitch only changes when the positioning changes. So somebody catches up to us, we don't have the same differentiated value we did with the last iteration of the product, or we've got a new competitor coming in. We don't just change the pitch. We got to go all the way back to the positioning. Competition, how are we different? What's the value we can deliver that nobody else can? Who cares a lot about that value? Market we win. Then we translate it to the sales pitch. I got a freebie for you at the end. So there's a QR code because we love those now. And this is a trap. So if you scan the QR code, I'm going to make you join my newsletter, which is really amazing. But I'm going to give you a free workbook that has a bunch of templates and will help you go through the process to do your positioning as well as the process to do your sales pitch. And that's it. Thank you so much. You guys are great.